I love babies. I think they are beautiful in all sorts of different ways. I try to pick up and hold a baby every day, if possible, because it nourishes me. It feeds my soul. Babies are drawn to me, and I think it's because they see me as one of them, but cooler and with my life put together a little bit. If a baby were president, there would be no taxes, there would be no war, there would be no government, and things could get terrible. And actually, probably, it would be a better screenplay idea than a serious suggestion.
TBTL!
Jumpman, them boys up to something. I think I need some Robitussin.
Targets.
I tell you to get this through your head, but you're a machine, so run this through your data processor. Get lost.
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, totally. No, I hear that.
If I told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. I love you.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Tuesday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
They are goofy. They are friendly. They are really, really good. That's all you need.
My name's Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
You're about to see some serious voices.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where it's a weirdly cold day. There's a very slight chance of snow this week here in this part of the Pacific Northwest, which feels odd considering there was also 75 degrees the other day. But as we like to say, it is, well, I am going to say it's climate controlled here inside the Madrona Hill studio, but it's kind of not. Because since it got warm, I put away my space heater that I keep near my feet. So I don't know if we can control the climate here. We can tell you that we've arrived at episode 4,705 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
Former Mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, appears to be trying to horn in on my action in terms of being one of the more famous people from the nation of Albania.
How dare you?
We'll look into that and also try to figure out what their main export is. Also, the CEO of McDonald's has now shot a new video where he proves once and for all that he can eat food normally from McDonald's. He's eating chicken McNuggets.
These are the best Cajun chicken niblets I've ever had.
I remain unconvinced, so we'll talk about that. And we'll talk to this guy. He's the longest-running Cobra of the show. Maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ship. Speaking of...
This ship doesn't go anywhere except in circles.
He's Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. Would you be at all interested in starting today's show with a little, on-the-fly celebrity birthday roundup? I haven't thought this all the way through. I was just thinking before the show, literally moments ago, that is like a staple of old school morning radio that I always love. And I know it was always the easiest thing. Before the internet, I'm sure radio producers at commercial radio stations would just get a list. They'd probably sign up and pay for some service that would give them a birthday list or whatever. Now it's all online.
I promise you it was a fax at some point.
Yes,
and that seemed high-tech.
Absolutely.
But then eventually became an email.
I think Kevin and Bean used to do it. In that show, I don't think, kind of wrap things up until well into the mid-20-teens, right? It's just I don't know, it always felt comforting to me. So I am going to, I have a...
I've got some music here. Do you have
good,
music?
No, I mean, all I had, I'd ripped a lip dip dip, but maybe you have something that's a little bit smoother than that. Yes. This is the... God damn it, you get it. This is the mood. Yes. Let's start with Abraham Ortelius, Flemish cartographer and dealer in maps, books, antiquities, born on this day in 1527, Lou.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. This is why
He's probably one of my number one Flemish cartographers.
I do not want to have that debate with you again.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of feel like I just want to kind of have
Let's
some
go back
fun.
to talking about pee-pee and poo-poo from your doggy.
Yes, exactly. Loretta Lynn, was
love
born
Loretta Lynn.
on this day in some year. Here it is. She was born in 1932. I had seen it earlier on the list, so I was doing that one off the top of the dome.
Is the
had to find
Flemish cartographer still alive? Is he an is or a was?
Is he an is or is he a was? Oh, you know what? I hate to say this.
Because I don't want to make that mistake again.
No, I understand. It looks like he did pass away, unfortunately, in 1598, Luke. But had a relatively long life, it looks like. So that's fun. Let's see here. We have Robert Carlyle. He's a Scottish actor. Do you know what he was in? Do you know what he's famous for?
Yeah, Trainspotting.
Exactly. And apparently The Full Monty. He was born in
yes, he was in The Full Monty. I forgot.
On this
I don't
date.
know if I understood one word from Trainspotting, but I sure loved it.
Well, speaking of pee-pee poo-poo, I understood what happened in one scene.
Oh, boy.
I
Can't get that out of my head.
I know. What about David Justice?
David Justice, longtime Atlanta Brave.
Exactly. 1966.
I want to say
David Justice
Halle Berry dater, which
really?
if I wasn't jealous enough of David Justice, when I saw that he was dating the fabulous Halle Berry, I was quite impressed.
Is Halle Berry in one of those long-term Hollywood relationships? I don't think so. She's not like a Peter Sarsgaard and Maggie Gyllenhaal situation. I have Sarsgaard on the brain, by the way. I'm going to see my doctor about it later in the week. But
they have medicine for that.
How far into, and I've only gone 3 episodes so far, but I'm purposely kind of spreading them out and trying to watch as slowly as possible because there's only 7 episodes of DTF St. Louis. How far did you get in?
You know, I got distracted with other stuff, so I think I had watched maybe 2 because that's what was available. Mm-hmm. And so now, I'm fully charged. You know, I've probably got, how many episodes are out now? Is all of them?
I think the 7th one just dropped, I want to say on Sunday or yesterday. So I only have 4 more to go, and I'm loving it so much. Episode 3 is where they introduce a Sarsgaard, Luke, and it's a great character.
If you introduce a Sarsgaard in the 3rd episode, he better go off by the 7th episode.
By the way, I don't think I have the bandwidth, especially right now, to do this, but I want to make you I'm going to make you a little bit of jealous here, possibly. Genevieve has been bugging me about doing a DTF recap podcast. She's into it. And she had watched half of the first episode and then had given up and decided it wasn't for her. But then my renewed interest in it, and I think I don't know if this speaks well or ill, but like when she found out it was a Stephen Conrad thing, that sort of helped put everything in place for her a little bit, and she trusted it more, and she's like, oh, okay.
I think that's a huge good thing. And that's kind of what because there was a couple of moments in the first episode where I was unsure, but then I was like, I'm in the safety of Stephen Conrad's embrace.
Yes, exactly. And boy, episode 3 for me, it's like, is it, I don't know if I'm using this right, but the show has a little bit of a Rochambeau quality to it, I think, because like episode 3, you really start to get to know the characters especially one of them on a slightly deeper level.
I think you might be thinking Rashomon.
Rashomon. What's Rochambeau? Oh, that's
rock, paper, scissors.
Speaking of, thank you for the correction there. That would have lived in my head. Speaking of Stephen Conrad, though, Rochambeau plays a big role in Patriot. Yeah. Adrian Brody, 53 years young, Luke, born on this day in 1973. Of course, you know him from The Pianist.
And also famously kissed Halle Berry on stage at the Oscars in a move that I think nowadays we would say was not cool.
Do you have a Halle Berry connection for all of these? This has become a new game. I love this.
Wait till I get to the Flemish cartographer. I'm going to be honest with you, that was the toughest one.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, 49 years young.
Buffy.
Again, 1977.
Now, she's in a very, very long and successful partnership, marriage with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Really?
Which is Freddie adorable because they were both like in their 20s. They were both just like huge young stars in the world, very sought after, adorable people who fell in love, and they've stayed together all these years later, which is just warms my heart.
We are going to end it here, Luke, and I'm telling you, I did not realize this. I'm getting near the end of the list. I'm getting to the people who were born in the late 90s, and so that's where the list... In 1995, Luke, on this day in 1995, while I am in class, my senior year of high school, a baby was born. and his parents named him Baker Mayfield, American football quarterback.
Was all so you could shout out your boy Baker Mayfield.
I am delightfully learning this along with you. Heisman Trophy winner in 2017, University of Oklahoma, 2018 NFL Draft, #1 pick by the Cleveland Browns, and I believe currently playing still for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, he's a Buck, right? And he was real good last year for stretches.
Yeah.
That team fell apart a little bit, but I don't know if that was necessarily Baker's fault. I feel like Baker Mayfield also kind of ushered in this notion of NFL quarterbacks did not have to be defined by their first few years. Not that he was even a huge flop in Cleveland. He just had no protection. He was getting hurt all the time and stuff. I don't need to tell you this.
And also, and I'll just say that, like, in my, in real life, but also in my memory and in my heart, he did great in Cleveland because he broke the playoff drought. He broke the losing streak when he went in there. He did great things from Cleveland. He was just treated badly by Cleveland, I would say.
Maybe that was it. I guess I just thought of him as being kind of a mixed bag, or maybe not living up to the #1 overall pick, Heisman Trophy winning kind of hype.
Yeah.
But then he goes somewhere else and he plays really well. And he's just kind of become this very solid quarterback, which I guess this may have to do with me overestimating what sort of flop he was, because you're right, he wasn't a flop. But I just feel like you had Baker Mayfield, who turned out to be really good. Of course, we got our boy Sam Darnold. Before that, we had Geno Smith, which was also kind of that story. I just feel like when I was a kid, it was like you had good quarterbacks and bad quarterbacks. And oftentimes, the bad quarterbacks were guys that were picked very high in the draft because they were picked by a team that had lost a lot of games the previous season. They ran the quarterback out with no protection. They broke him. And then that person just sort of was cursed to just like sail through the league like a ghost frigate in different backup jobs, with the story always being, they were kind of they were a flop. And now I feel like that's not really how we think about quarterbacks. It's like if they're in a good system, they can be pretty good. And
you're thinking of like the Johnny Manziels, right? If I can go back to
Yes.
Cleveland, right?
There you go.
Or
That's a perfect example.
would Tebow be an example? That was a little bit before my football time.
Well, the thing about Tebow was it was always up for a debate if he even was a quarterback. He was sort of a fullback or a tight end. There's a guy that was named Jamarcus Russell who went to the Raiders, overall LSU, #1 pick, I think. Horrible. That might have just been Jamarcus Russell too. I don't know. But yeah, no, I have a lot of fondness for Baker Mayfield, but I think it's mostly because of your fondness for Baker Mayfield. Like I have by association, I'm rooting for him.
Well, happy birthday to all of our celebrity birthday havers today. Luke, I'm not joking. That was seriously not planned out. I just Googled it as you were introducing me, and I feel invigorated. I came in a little bit sleepy today. I hadn't had any coffee, and I am ready to go. I'm ready to hand the reins over to you. I will follow you anywhere now.
Love this energy. We can do it anytime that the spirit moves you. Great. The irony is how fun that was for you, and let's just say there are moments when you find certain aspects of the Blurs Days challenging. It's like,
well, I am on board with the
Baker
Blurs Days
Mayfield's
now.
birthday. No, you are. I don't want people to feel like you don't like it.
The history of the Blurs Days was, I wanted to bring them back because I remembered you guys had done that before, right? The old crew had done that. You and Jen and Sean had done some sort of birthdays, or Jen was super against it, so you didn't do it. And I said, we can make it work.
Maybe that was it.
And then what happened was listeners hated it. Like the feedback we got when we first started doing it was either absolute hatred for the segment or will you read my Blurs Day? It was like sort of nothing in between. And sometimes I think those were the same people, if I'm being honest with you. So that really got in my head. So I was always apologizing for it, I think. I think that was it. And I don't know. I like them now, and I think that it's a fun thing that people look forward to. And I think that we've come up with a pretty good system of keeping them, they clip along relatively quickly now, I think. So anyway, but
would you like to hear a story of my comeuppance, of me receiving my comeuppance?
Yeah. Oh, please. Yes, of course.
I know this
is there anything better?
For you and the listeners, I can't think of anything that's more satisfying. I'm impressed by your and Genevieve's decision to cut the cord with Amazon. And I wish that I were disciplined enough to do that. And I don't know, maybe I will just do it. Now, there was a big hassle in my life yesterday that involved my reliance on Amazon. So what happened was we were having Becca's family over for Easter, and I realized I didn't have enough like plates and things. I mean, I had plates, but they were kind of mismatched. So I had some like, nice dinner plates that you would use, but I didn't have like 11 of those. So then I was going to have to use these ones that are for outside that are I don't know how to describe them. They're just like outdoor. They're not like, disposable or anything, but they don't match the other ones. And I wanted it to be nice and kind of upscale. So I went on Amazon like Saturday night and bought 2 additional sets of dishes that was going to give us enough plates and bowls. Also, we needed more bowls. And the plates that I had already that were like ceramic were black, so I was buying some black ones that would like match pretty closely. And I mean, the thing is I could have just used the other plates. You know what I mean? Like, it just could have been a little less fancy, and nobody would have been bothered by this. This gets into my own like insecurities around wanting people to feel a certain way about me and my house, I guess. But it also felt like the ultimate just sort of like 2026 consumerism. Like, I need some plates and bowls, and guess what? Amazon will have them at my house by 4 a.m. Somehow these plates and bowls will be at my house within 8 hours. Are they being forged right now down the street in Longview? Like, I don't even know how this works, but okay, sign me up.
The children's handprints will still
yes,
be warm on the
still
plates.
be
the
wet.
People who
yes. And like, so I hit buy, and then what do you think happens? The plates and bowls, the whole thing does not show up until we are midway through dinner.
Oh, and so you probably said this, but I didn't catch the detail. You had bought it pretty much at the last minute. It was like it was the day before.
Beyond the last minute. Now, here was the thing: we had a plan to go into town, and I was going to say we'll go by like Target or something. I know we're not supposed to go to Target either, but whatever. I was like, we'll go into town and we'll buy some more plates at a brick and mortar. But then I was like, I could also just order these on Amazon, and then someone will drive them here, and then they'll be here. They were allegedly going to be here at 4 a.m, well before people were showing up. And then I won't have to go into town and deal with that. So I'm just going to do this. So that's why I was even more lazy, because I could have done like a normal person thing and went and bought these things. Instead, I summoned them to me like a Flemish cartographer.
Yes.
You
drew yourself
bring
a
me
little
your
map.
finest plates. Yes, exactly. And so anyway, the thing was, they didn't show up at 4 a.m. They didn't show up at 11 a.m. They didn't show up until about 4 p.m. when we were eating. So at that point, I'd already figured something out, which was to just use the other plates that were mismatched, and it was totally fine. So now I've got this box that I haven't opened it's pretty heavy, actually, and it's got 2 matching sets of plates and bowls. I don't think there were cups in there. But anyway, I'm like, well, I'm going to send this back now, which also feels crappy because the carbon footprint of all of that is just so unnecessary. And so I print out the return label, and I carry this very heavy box to the car, drive it down to town the other day, and I go to the UPS store. And it's a whole situation because the box is like kind of so heavy, I sort of can't carry it and open the door of the UPS store at the same time. And there's always a line because everyone's always returning stuff because we're all buying everything from Amazon. So I get in there. This is the place, as I've mentioned many times, where occasionally they're also doing notary services.
I was going to say, if I could have just gotten in before you, if I had known about this.
I'm holding a 100-pound box.
And I'm in there with my, I need to renew my vows, or for some reason.
You're legally changing Lucy's name.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm like trying to open the door, and I got this heavy thing, and then I'm now, and there's like a long line. So I go and I take this heavy box and I like place it on actually the place where people do the notary stuff. There's like I don't know what you'd call it, an island in the middle of this store, because there was no way I was going to be able to hold this thing the whole time. So I just put it there, and I'm standing, and then this guy is walking out of the store who works there, and he goes, he just sees that I'm holding this label that I printed out. He goes, that's not going to work. You didn't print the whole label. And I was like, what? And I like look down, and he's like, yeah, that part's missing. He goes, we can reprint it for you. It's $3. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm kind of bummed because I printed it out at my house. You know me, I love me a printer. But
it actually is one of those things where it just sort of wasn't actually aligned right. It kind of like printed off the page, sort of. You were missing the barcode.
There was something weird with the formatting, and I should have known this because what happened was, long story longer, I basically printed it. There was something funky going on with it, and when I printed it, it didn't do it correctly, and it left off part of the information that it needed, some string of numbers or whatever. And then when he printed
just like clocked that walking by you. That's what I'm sort of
It was-
surprised by. What was this? I know you're probably trying to get through a story that you already feel is maybe too long, and I'm just going to keep on drilling down on the tiny details.
Sure.
I was wondering what your reaction was to this guy sort of like seeing you holding that. You weren't asking for help, but then he's kind of interjecting. Was the attitude sort of very helpful, or did it seem a little brusque, like, that's not going to work?
It wasn't rude. He wasn't rude, but the thing what I had a hard time separating was whether the information he was giving me was annoying, or I was annoyed to learn it was going to be $3 to print this thing out. So then I was like, so he goes on his smoke break or whatever, and then I get up to the front, and then the person prints the label for me, prints out the thing, and when we see the full label, what it says is FedEx, and they don't do FedEx at this place.
Oh,
this is the UPS
God.
store. This is the UPS store. So now I have a $3 printout that tells me I can't. They don't take this here.
Could you say, I don't want your printout, sir? I've changed my
Well,
mind.
the thing was, they said you can go to the Walgreens where they ship this kind of stuff. So I had the printout. I was like, okay. So
no,
I
I just meant sort of mean. Yeah, I guess you still needed the printout anyway for $3, and you don't want to screw them over. But yeah, that's I'm in that place about 2 times a week. That's where I get most of my notarizing done. I got to stay on good terms. My notarizing and my martinizing, which I feel like that's really fallen out of fashion. Have we stopped trying to upsell people on the martinizing in this day and age? Upholstery? What is martinizing?
I think it's dry cleaning.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's upholstery. Maybe it's I just know that when I was a kid, every dry cleaning place also seemed to offer martinizing services, and I feel like it must have been some sort of like stain proofing, maybe of upholstery. But they had the chemicals at the dry cleaners.
I'm seeing like I think I'm spelling it. Oh yeah, I am. Okay, I was gonna say
martinizing.
It looks like so making something more like actor comedian Martin Starr.
Yes,
that's
whose
weird.
Birthday is next Thursday. Cannot wait for that.
Spoil it. Martinizing. I spelled it wrong, which is why I was confused there. Martinizing is a dry cleaning franchise. Oh wait, that's a franchise. It's the name of a dry cleaning company here, but what is the process?
Wow. So maybe that was just the name. That's so interesting. So martinizing was just a chain of dry cleaners that were in the Pacific Northwest, or had made it. It looks like they started out in Florida, but they must have made it to the Pacific Northwest. And when I saw that, I thought it was a process. It was just a name, which would explain also why you don't see it so much, because if they've moved out of town or whatever, that's Andrew, this is why you play the game.
But it does sound like they developed a system, and maybe it's not called that anymore because maybe it was copyrighted or something like that. But it does sound like, and again, I'm sorry to use the AI overview here, but it says martinizing revolutionized dry cleaning by introducing safe on-premise 1-hour service on using non-flammable solvent. So it sounds like it really sped up the process and everything.
Right. Okay. Well, that would explain why I would see that word so much when I was a kid. But so I carry my heavy giant box and now my printout out the door. I think someone is nice enough to hold the door for me. Thank you. Get it back in my car. And now, I've got other stuff going on. I just didn't feel like driving across town to the Walgreens to do this. So I was like, I'm just going to put this in the back of my car and I'm going to deal with this later. Later ended up being yesterday, Andrew. So I'm in town and I'm kind of near this Walgreens that I know they have a little FedEx desk in the back kind of a thing. And so I drive on over there and I've got my printout and I grab my very heavy box, carry it into the Walgreens, get to the back corner and place it on the thing. And the woman says, she looks at me and she goes, we're not allowed to do any packing. And I was like, yeah, I know. This is still in the original. I literally never even opened the box. We still got the tape on it. She goes, well, no, that includes taping. We can't tape anything. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, you have that printout, but it's not taped to the box.
No way. They're going to
anything.
make you buy tape.
And I'm looking at her, and right behind her is a big thing of Scotch tape and a thing of packing tape.
Yeah.
And she says, and I go, so that Scotch tape? She goes, we're not allowed to tape anything.
Yeah.
I go, what aisle is the tape on? She's like, aisle 11. So I walk, and I'm so mad at this woman. but it was good that the tape was on aisle 11 because it gave me some time to reflect.
Yeah, you needed a
It's like
little bit
this
of
woman works at
decompression.
Walgreens. She, by the way, she wasn't mean about it. She also wasn't leaving the door open for me to get some of that sweet, sweet tape from behind her. Like this was something she has to tell people every day. This must be the worst part of her job. And so, like, luckily, by the time I got to the tape and then got back to her, I was more amused at the whole situation than furious. Also, here's what I told myself. I didn't buy packing tape because I have packing tape here because I've run into stuff like this before. I thought I actually might need some Scotch tape. Like, you know, you can always use some Scotch tape around the house. So I really tried to kind of like think about it as like I went to the store to buy some Scotch tape and I'm also going to use it on this thing that I'm mailing out. So got the Scotch tape and I went back. I did say to her in a nice way, I was like, you realize the absurdity of this situation that you have that Scotch tape right behind you. She's like, yeah, we can't tape anything. I was like, yeah, okay. So I taped down the, also while I'm doing this is also like the photo mat of the Walgreens, you know, where you can get your pictures developed. And this guy, as I'm taping the label on, this guy shows up. He's a little younger than me. Well, everyone's a little younger than me now, but he's probably in his 30s.
He's a kid. He's in his 30s, late 30s.
Yeah, exactly. He wrote in on a big wheel. I think he was 44.
Yeah, all right.
So he's like, I'm picking up some photos, and he gives a woman's name, presumably his wife, and the clerk goes and gets the little folder or whatever, the envelope, and gives it to him. And I'm taping down now my little label, and he just like opens the folder and he just looks at it and he goes, my wife. And then he just closes it and walks out, and I'll never know what the photos were. I'll never know what was going on with the photos.
No, it could be.
I know.
The photos could have looked bad. They could have, like, you know, if they're filmed. Well, this wouldn't have been actually probably like film. This would have been probably digital prints, right?
I assume so. It was under her name. So here's what I don't think it was. For a second, I was like, maybe these were the photos that the private eye took of his wife and her guy or something.
Why would she have him pick them up, though?
Well, that's why I'm canceling that theory, because it was under her name. But he just looked, and he seemed genuinely annoyed about the photos.
Oh, I thought it was. I had that more as a shake your head, like kind of like,
No,
oh, what am I going to do with this lady?
No, it wasn't like that. It was like more like something in the photos was annoying him.
Oh,
but we never saw the photos.
Oh, I wish you had said what's wrong. I know you couldn't.
I was in the middle of a thing.
Yeah.
I was buying $6 worth of Scotch tape.
Can I say, so far the most shocking part of this story is that you were taping this label down with Scotch tape. I would have used
that's the thing.
tape.
I didn't want to buy packing tape because I have a bunch of packing tape. I just told you. The way that I made peace with this is I actually need Scotch tape.
Yeah, no, I did hear you say that. I don't think I picked up on the fact that you're over-indexed on packing tape at home.
I am, well, again, literally, like the fact that I have plenty of packing tape, I just didn't have it with me. Buying that would have made me more angry than the Scotch tape. In fact, there was a particular thing I needed the Scotch tape for, which is my shrine that I've built to the Mariners.
Shrine, yeah.
My baseball shrine, which is the French fry container that was all the rage on day one at T-Mobile Park. A baseball signed by Jorge Polanco from our friend the Stewbot, and a photograph of my beautiful niece Gemma wearing a Mariners uniform. And I have that placed in the boat. This is all up like next to where my TV is, and shall remain there throughout the season. But the thing is, the picture of Gemma sometimes kind of falls down and I needed to tape it to the wall with some Scotch tape. So I literally this is why I wasn't furious with the woman, because I thought of this as being something that's going to allow me to fix this picture of my beautiful niece Gemma.
Okay.
So like that took the edge off me. But if I would have been buying packing tape, I would have continued to burn in my rage because I don't need more packing tape.
Okay, I follow that.
But you're right.
Did it
was
feel weird though using Scotch tape? Yeah,
it did. Yeah, and I wanted to say to the guy who was muttering into his envelope of photos, I understand this isn't the right tape for this, but there's a much longer story behind this, sir.
Yes, if
you know,
paying
like
attention.
I don't think, like, I get it that this is weird, and I'm using a lot of Scotch tape to do this. I also did the Pee Wee Herman thing where I was taping my nose up and stuff.
You know what I was going to say?
Trying to keep it fun.
If I were the woman who wouldn't give you any tape while you're taping this box up, I would have been behind the counter just pulling off long strands of tape, like taping my nose up, just creating tape balls and then throwing them into the garbage can across the room. room. I would have just been wasting so much tape right in front of you.
I would have actually had to tip my cap to that. That would have been a pretty sweet burn. But I just was. By the end of it, I was also very glad that I hadn't blown my top, because it did feel like everywhere I went, somehow it was going to cost me more money for this return to happen, whether it was for the printing of the label, whether it was for the buying of the tape. But when I taped this all down and I left, there was a whole other run-in, which was she said, well, how heavy is it? And I go, it's pretty heavy. I go, I can help carry it back there. Because, well, there's a weight limit on what we're allowed to ship. And I was like, oh, God. She goes, it's 50 pounds. And I go, this has got to be less than 50 pounds. Andrew, if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what 50 pounds feels like. I was free jazzing at this point. I was just whatever. She could have told me that the weight limit was 8 pounds, and I'd be like, this is 7.5 pounds.
You're just trying to Obi-Wan Kenobi her.
I am so.
You're like, this is not the 50 pounds you're looking for.
I am like, if I have to carry this flipping box out of here with my Scotch tape and my printout, I am going to lose it. And I was like, no, it's definitely not. It's fine. You're allowed to do this. And then she looks down and she goes, she's looking at the box and she's looking at the weight and she goes, oh yeah, it says 35 pounds, so it's fine.
Good.
And I was like, yeah, that's what I said. It's fine. If she had said it's 51 pounds, if I had to take that thing out of there, Andrew, it would have been in the police blotter.
Yeah,
man seen running nude through Walgreens, just ranting about tape and 51 pounds.
The upside is Genevieve would have joined me on the show today, and we would have had a nice conversation.
No, I mean, honestly, that's a W for the listeners,
absolutely,
without a doubt.
Yeah, so you got it shipped off.
I got it shipped off, but I mean, the whole thing just felt, again, it felt like karma for me for not. Because, the other thing that happened was a week before the get-together, Becca said, this is a list of everything we need. This is how many bowls we need. This is how many plates we need. This is how much. And I just failed to even give it any consideration until the Saturday before. So it just felt like this is me being, procrastinating and then also being impulsive. And then, again, it didn't help that Becca's sister's husband, Don, they're an incredibly, tight-knit, thoughtful, low-carbon footprint family. This particular wing of her family, which is her sister, Sudel, her husband, Don, and her partner, Don, and their son, Alexander. They, are just very good about not, Don just said casually, yeah, I hear when you send those back, they just go into a landfill. I was like, thanks.
That's not going to happen to those. So you were having this conversation. I mean, they're unopened plates. You know what I mean? I know Amazon sometimes
in the box.
Will just say
I'm really hoping that they will. I mean,
think they're just
not that I want Jeff
money.
Bezos to make more money, but I really don't want them to go into. That would be the worst outcome possible, because it would it would mean that I just made a flamingo cry in Peru or something, with my impulsivity.
Well, with all things, I want to apply this to my own life and an experience I had yesterday. That was actually maybe kind of the opposite of yours, and I'm just sort of remembering now. But before we get to that, I want to explore something that you just said. So the fact that these plates arrived too late and that you were going to be sending them back was a bit of a point of conversation during the Easter meal.
Well, because I got an alert on my phone that Amazon just made the delivery, and I went out and brought the box, and I said, guess what these are? These are the plates we were supposed to be using.
I see. Did you feel... this is Becca's family, so obviously we have to be careful and very respectful, but did you feel a little judged in that moment?
I didn't feel judged. This is the thing about Don. He is he's just sort of, he's a really affable guy. I really like him, but he's also just he'll just kind of say what's on his mind.
Yeah.
So he's not the kind of guy who's running that through the filter of, am I making Luke feel bad about the fact that these are going to go in a landfill? Mm-hmm. He's just sort of, musing aloud about it, because they're the kind of people who wouldn't order plates on Amazon because they've heard that they'll go to the landfill eventually, or they would have gone and bought them from somewhere. They're more intentional about a lot of stuff than I am. So he wasn't saying it to make me feel bad, but it did run through my mind. Not enough that I didn't send them back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what were you going to do? You didn't need them anymore. I mean, I guess for the next
long
Easter.
term, I mean, there's going to be, well, unless it gets canceled, there's going to be another Easter, Yeah. So I guess I could have hung on to them. Also, it was $100. I was like, what I'm going to do is figure out a long-term solution for having enough plates that match for when people come over, if it's, a large group of people. But I'll try to I'll go to an actual store and you go to a store that's maybe what they sell, and get them. So I'm gonna try to fix the problem, but I'm gonna try to do it in a slightly more intentional way. I just felt like Jacob Marley with his chain, just dragging this box around from location to location, trying to send it back to whatever hell it came from.
Yeah, or the telltale heart, maybe, as it's just like dunk, 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 as it's in your back seat. I did hear that the failing Catholic Church might not have Easter next year. I don't know if you heard about this, but the Catholic Church is just, it's not looking great for them, according to our president.
Praise be to Allah.
I wanted to talk.
That was his Easter tweet, by the way, where he threatens the human beings in Iran and then closes it out by saying, praise be to Allah.
I didn't get that dazzling detail, but I've been following. By the way, I mean, I almost emailed you, this was like a week ago, before things even got a little bit heated. I sent an email to myself, and I was going to copy you, like, do we just need to do a top story about how cool the Pope is at some point? And just like standing up for what's right. I mean, I'm not talking about baseball anymore. I literally sent myself an email. I'm not joking. The subject line was, "The Pope is dope," and with a link to some New York Times article. And this was, again, like a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. Just thinking, like, boy, there's just so much to talk about how great this Pope is, like, to be speaking up for human rights. I mean, it seems like a pretty low bar, but, you know, not all popes have risen to the occasion.
Absolutely. And, I mean, did you send me this, or did somebody on Blue Sky loop me in on this, that somebody had, like, posted on Blue Sky? It's pretty crazy to think that there's probably at least one person at the Vatican who has an MLB.com account.
So I think maybe a listener sent that to us, because I saw that too. That was not my thought. I don't know if it was a listener's original thought or if somebody was just passing along a Blue Sky post that they saw.
The idea that the very, I mean, I don't even know what the very reverend, the very exalted, the very dope Pope is also probably mad about not being able to get a White Sox game because somehow it's out of market or in market or whatever. Like, the idea that he's also dealing with trying to watch the White Sox, that he's getting frustrated. I love that so much.
It's sinful to put this on Peacock. And did I bring this up on the show or just off air? I really wanted to talk to you about that headline. I think we did bring it up finally on the show itself, that, like, he actually has spoken out against, like, newspaper headlines that are more like clickbait or anything. Like, actually, it's just like,
he wrote an encyclical on
I mean, all he needs to do is talk about how it's a sin to put your dog poop in Andrew Walsh's garbage bins. Like, because I feel like I'm living in some sort of a what do they call it in Star Trek? The holodeck, where you can just, like, live out your fantasies. I'm asking the wrong guy probably here, but let me tell you about a little experience I had yesterday. And it's not a long story. It's just about shopping. And you know what? I'll even tell you. I'll be fair to the listeners. It's not a particularly good story. If you need to go get a cup of coffee or something, do it now. I'll try to keep it relatively short, but as you know, or as you referenced, like, you know, Vives and I haven't been using Amazon in a while, and as I've discussed a lot on the show, it's made it difficult for me, somebody who is not a natural shopper, who's impatient and just wants things but doesn't want to go through the process of finding them. I had started to rely on Amazon more and more, and then when we kind of took that away,
the kind of T-shirts you
buy. Remember, I could just reorder things, which was nice, and then if I did want something like a quick dart supply, like you say, I really did start to really get into, like, oh yeah, this will just be here tomorrow, and where else am I going to get this? And it used to bother me, and it still bothers me, that, like, I can't just go to a store that would have this specialty item, because those stores don't exist anymore because Amazon drove them out of business. But I got to a point where I was just sort of, like, you know, blocking that information from my whatever brain receptors and just hitting buy. So anyway, when that convenience went away, for the past, year or so, it's been, like, kind of tough. Like, oh, where am I going to get this thing that I need? And a lot of this stuff is very mundane, like shower curtains. I don't think I talked about it on TBTL. I think maybe that was a spotless thing. But just plastic shower curtain liners, the kind that I use that would go across your tub or whatever. I have a tub shower. I used to get that at Target. Like you said, I'm not going to Target. You also sort of said, like, I know you're not supposed to go there. Just for the record, I just don't think people need to be going around judging other people's decisions on these things. Everybody do what feels right to you. I was outside Target the other day because I was nearby, and I did look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, like, will I go in there again? Maybe. I don't know. Right now isn't the time for me. But they're just like these very mundane sort of, sort of home good things. I'm buying more stuff from Grove, the cleaning, the online kind of environmentally conscientious cleaning and home goods store that I like. But I don't know. There were just some holes in my shopping. Yesterday, I had several things I needed that felt specific. I knew I had to go to the pet store to buy a whole bunch of stuff for, new puppy times and some stuff for Bingo the cat. I needed towels. This is also related to the puppy. We're going through a lot of towels. She's coming in and out. It's raining. We're drying her feet. She's having accidents indoors. So I'm sort of like I have a tiered system of towels in the house. Like the new ones are for this, and then the slightly older ones are for counters, and then the really old ones are for floors or whatever. So I was like, okay, great time. And for a long time, I've been wanting, this is another thing I talked about on Spotless, I've been wanting fresh new towels for my bathroom downstairs, and I would have bought those on Amazon. I would have bought those several times over by now had I probably not given up on it. But I was like, that's not entirely true, because part of it also is I wanted to feel the towels. To me, like the feel of a towel in a store is incredibly important, and Amazon couldn't provide me with that either. I miss Bed Bath & Beyond, Luke. Like that's where I would have gone. I really miss Bed Bath & Beyond.
I love that place. What a weird, crazy world Bed Bath & Beyond
Yeah,
was.
I mean, and you knew it was weird because they said Beyond. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, there's the bed section over there.
The pit of the avocado out somehow through the skin? Okay.
Where's the avocado pit extractor? You're going to need to go to the Beyond for that. And they just point to this portal in the back of the store that's sort of swirling. I really miss Bed Bath & Beyond. So it's not all just Amazon for me. It's also just the current state of commerce, right? Which Amazon does play into, because that's one of the reasons
they've enshittified everything else by their existence.
And driven them out of business. So yesterday, I got pet store on the list. I got grocery store on the list for some light grocery shopping when I need to go to the grocery store.
What constitutes light grocery shopping?
I didn't have tons of things on my grocery list. It wasn't like, really, really stocking up on everything in the kitchen. But I wanted some like pineapple and grapes, if you want to be specific. I wanted some produce. I just wanted a few little things. I wanted something to eat for dinner. But the towel situation, I was still like, I don't know. And a listener had said you should go to Costco and you can feel the towels there and buy them there. So anyway, Genevieve, we've also been in sort of this weird mode with Lucy the puppy. Like we cannot leave her home alone at this point yet. She can't go everywhere with us.
Wet bandits might show up.
Yeah, and
she's the wet bandit.
The wet bandit. Yeah, and she's not fully vaxxed, so she can't totally integrate everywhere. Also, I kind of need to
doing
get
her
her
own research.
A little bit of a. That's right. I mean, I think I can push her over. We're having a lot of conversations. I'm trying to be patient and not pushy on this. Anyway, so because of that, it hasn't even been a week yet, and so I'm a little bit house locked when Genevieve isn't here, and it didn't really occur to me how much I'm just like, we get done with this show and I can just go run to the store for this. I can go run to the teriyaki shop for that, and now I'm kind of like, okay.
Presumably teriyaki.
Actually, I was thinking about that white sauce that they put on the salad dressing.
I do love that. I freaking love that dressing.
I like it. It's a little creamy for me, so I only want it on the side, and I'll put a tiny bit on it because it's a little lemony, which I like.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that is to say, Genevieve gets home from work last night, I don't know, 5:36 or something like that. And I said, okay, great. I'm going to do this running around. I'm going to go. I'm like, I finally have a solution to my towels. I've been thinking about this for like a year. I'm going to go to Costco. And Genevieve, I mean, God bless this woman. She said, I don't know about Costco for towels. I'm like, a listener told me. And she's like, okay. Now, you know that I hate going to Costco. I don't have anything against the company or anything. It sounds like they have pretty good practices, in fact. But it's just not an environment that I'm comfortable in. And the few times I've been driven to Costco, it's because like I need something specific, which is the wrong way to go to Costco. It's just not a good match for me, right? And I get really anxious going there. I don't like being in that crowd of people, and it's just a bad place for me. And I looked it up, and yes, Costco has a bunch of towels, but mostly they're online sales. And so Genevieve kept me from going to my least favorite place and then stomping out of it empty-handed, which I've done a few times. Going to Costco and then not finding the specific thing you're looking for and then stomping out in the middle of a Wednesday is a uniquely Andrew Walsh move, and it is so frustrating.
It's happened before.
Oh, it has. I needed these tables for pop-up. My job is tables. And everybody said, oh, they have them at Costco. So I go into Costco, and it's just I don't know if you know this, it's like a giant warehouse. And you go up to people and you say, where are the outdoor tables? And they look at you like, I don't know if we have those or not. Would you like a little hot dog bite? I'm like, no, I don't want a hot dog bite. I want a table. They're like, well, I don't know. Like, I think the people who work there are very nice, but they just are not. The idea of asking where something is in Costco seems to be just not part of the culture because it's constantly changing. Nobody knows what's in there. Mr. Costco doesn't know what's in there. So all of that is to say, Genevieve says, I wouldn't go to Costco for that. I look it up. She's absolutely right. I'm so thankful for that. But I'm like, where would you go? She's like, well, there's the TJ Maxx. There's a Marshall's. You know, it's just like we can't just go to the mall like we used to.
You got to really be open to experience if you're going to TJ Maxx for your towels.
I know.
It's going to be like, it's going to be polo. It's going to be mustard yellow, and it's going to be polo and have like a really fly teddy bear on it for some reason.
Well,
and it started out, it retailed for $1,000, but now it's $8.
Well, that does remind me. I don't want to get distracted. I did go on that Marshall's TJ Maxx journey right before our trip to Hawaii because it was the day before, and I realized I didn't have shorts. You should wear shorts in Hawaii, not like long pants and combat boots or whatever I wore in the sunshine when I was a teenager. So anyway, I needed some shorts, and so I went on this whole journey of first I hit Marshall's and it was a disaster, and then I went up to TJ Maxx, which I just kept going further and further north on 99 until I ended up somewhere in Canada. But all of that is to say, Genevieve's kind of saying, well, you could do that. And I'm already thinking, am I going to do the TJ Maxx, strike out, go up to Marshall's, and then come home with something I'm sort of okay with, maybe like deal again? And then she said two magical words to me: Home Goods. There's a store called Home Goods that I bought like a planter in once, and I think that's the extent of my experience going there. And I was like, Home Goods, of course, they're the closest thing to sort of a Bed Bath & Beyond. It's not quite that, but it's the type of store you go in and it has those like very suburban fragrances that I actually kind of like, that remind me of like being a kid and going to the mall with my mom or something. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. They probably have a lot of like scent sticks in there. I don't know what it is, but they have towels, they have rugs, they have planters. I don't know. They just have everything. So here's my deal yesterday. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll check out Home Goods. It'll be good. And then as I'm driving there, I took a slightly wrong turn, so I'm going to have to go around the block. And as I'm going around the block, I'm like, oh, you know what? I also need a bunch of things for pop-up, so I need to go to my restaurant supply store, which is right behind Home Goods. And then I'm like, okay, so I stop there. I get a whole bunch of stuff for pop-up that I need. And then I pull in the parking lot. And then I'm like, oh, right, well, the pet store is right next to Home Goods. And then I realize, oh, you know what's next to Home Goods? Is Sprouts. Literally 3 stores next to each other and then 1 store behind
Triple play.
It ended up being a quad play, Luke. It was a quad play because I hit the restaurant supply store first, and then I parked my car right in the middle of the parking lot, and I went pet store, Home Goods, Sprouts, took a trip to my car to drop off my goods in between each one. I was like, somehow Home Goods was like that one missing piece of the puzzle. I go in there, they have shower curtain liners, tons of them. They also have pet supplies I could have purchased there as well. They have all kinds of things. So Home Goods, if you're like me and you're struggling to find like, I don't know, something you'd usually just get at Target or Amazon or something like that, and there's a Home Goods in the neighborhood, give it a shot. I was so psyched. And to have them all right in the same place for me, it was like I haven't had a good shopping win in a while. You really could have used that win, and you really did use that win, Andrew. I was screaming in the parking lot, I really needed this win here.
Yeah, that's great.
Told you it wasn't that great of a story in my defense.
It was.
We was hoping for some razzle-dazzle.
Razzle-dazzle.
That's right, man, razzle-dazzle.
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle-dazzle.
Hey, let's thank some dazzling donors. These folks are keeping us in towel money with their donations of dough. This is 100% listener-supported podcasting right here. Advertisers, they don't want to touch it. They can't touch it. It's too edgy. It's too spicy.
Real for them.
Exactly. So we rely on folks like Tracy Phillips in Des Moines, Washington. It's our pal Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Tracy says, "Hi, guys. Another year, another message where I can't think of what to say.
Oh.
Here it goes. I listen to TBTL because where else can I get breaking news about sandwich preferences, overly detailed airport stories, and a 12-minute debate about whether something is a whole thing? Some people meditate, some people journal. I listen to two grown men spiraling gently into chaos about listener emails and I feel seen. It's like hanging out with your funniest friends. If your friends had microphones, niche opinions. Niche opinions, Tracy? I am the voice of a generation, I think. What that generation is, we're not sure.
Did you
Maybe
not
it hasn't
hear
even
my
occurred
home
yet.
goods story? Like, do you think that's niche?
And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, by the way, I missed part of that sentence. Niche opinions and absolutely no intention of staying on topic. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's been 17 years with you in this beautiful show. I'll be making/asking my niece, the redhead you met at the Vera Project, on our trip to Europe this year to listen. Ooh, fun. I always give her and her sister "This will change your life" statements, like listen to the Pixies and the Smiths. Now, could you please play the Calgary Flames drop? I'm a Flames fan. I remember this about Tracy, which is kind of random, that Tracy is a big Calgary Flames fan. But she says, "I'm a Flames fan. It tickles me every time. Love you guys and love John." This is from our friend listener Tracy. Do you happen to have that Calgary Flames tape? It's from the Nick Kroll show, right?
I do, yes. And do you know the name? So it is from the Nick Kroll show. And what is the name of the comedian who's playing the teacher in this? It's from a sketch called Wheels Ontario, which is it's like a what was that 80s and 90s show about the kids?
Degrassi Junior High.
It's a parody of Degrassi.
Which famously actually featured Drake, I believe.
Degrassi, the Next Generation had Drake,
Oh, okay.
not the one that I think I grew up with. But Wheels Ontario, I believe the premise is it was like a Degrassi kind of school, except it was a school where I think everybody was in wheelchairs except for the main character, and it was about him not being able to fit in with everybody because he was
exactly.
not in
It's sort of a
wheelchair.
switcheroo of what you might have seen, on an after-school TV show. I'm trying to scrub through this and see if I can get to the teacher because. I'm not. I don't know if I've even ever watched this. I've just heard it.
Yeah, you would know. It's driving me crazy. I think. Oh, you know who it is? I'm pretty sure it's John Daly.
Oh, sure.
Take a listen to this voice and tell me if you think it's John Daly. Here it is. Yeah. This is from the Kroll show.
And that concludes our lesson on the founder of Canadian electricity, Sir Brian. Oh, look who decided to come in tardy. Don't think it's okay to just roll in here at 100 kilometers per hour like you're Joel Otto with the Calgary Flames. Okay? Who do you think you are, Prime Minister Stephen Harper?
You know what, Luke? Timeless.
It's so great. It's so great. I love how unnecessarily Canadian they make the show, like just that being like the part of the premise.
Yeah.
They're great. They also do, there's the Pawn Brothers sketch that they did that was him and John Daly where they own two different Pennsylvania pawn shops.
And aren't they the Too Much Tuna guys too? Or no, that's not John Daly.
That's Mulaney.
Mulaney, of course, right?
And Kroll.
Yeah,
but,
right, of course.
Well, Tracy, thank you so much for hanging with us all these years, and thank you for attempting to convert your niece to another TBTL listener this summer. Don't let it ruin the trip to Europe, please. But thank you, Maestro.
On your mark. Get set. Now ready. Go. Everybody razzle dazzle.
Look who it is. It's Amy Lake in Eugene, Oregon. I'm much more connected with Eugene than I ever expected to be in my life because that's where Becca went to college. And we've been down there a few times. She comes from the kind of family where there aren't buildings with their names on it, but there are bricks with her grandparents' names on it, which is pretty highfalutin. Also, she's running the Eugene Marathon in a couple of weeks, and I have to go down there and deliver her to the starting line for that. So anyway, I've always got Eugene somewhere in my mind, even more so because it's where Amy Lake is, who says, "This is just a short message to let you all know how important this little podcast is to me. 5 days a week, you provide a welcome relief from all the chaos of the world." I had a thought, Andrew. Will we suffer a decline in listeners when the world stops being as chaotic?
You're wondering if this...
I'm saying I don't like the world the way it is at all, but is it actually? Because so many of the messages are, hey, what I like about TBTL is it's my break from the real world. And what people mean by that is just what's happening in our actual world. And I want more than anyone for our world to return to some sense of normalcy, our government to return to some sense of normalcy, looking out for people instead of harming people the way it does. But is that going to be a problem for us? Because what if the real world goes back to being kind of a normal place? Will people still come to TBTL?
And that raises the question, will that affect how you and I vote in upcoming elections? Like, do we want to perpetuate this chaos in order to,
I am willing to,
our bottom line?
We know our friend television's Chris Hayes was willing to trade all of this for one Chicago Cubs World Series.
We got to remember that. We got to remember whose fault this all is.
Exactly. Don't, you see him on TV or you're reading his books and you think he's a pretty cool customer. Just know that he did this so that the Chicago Cubs could get a World Series.
That's right.
Anyway, Amy says, you provide a welcome relief from the chaos of the world. I always say listening to TBTL reminds me of listening to good friends chat around the dining room table. That's kind of what Tracy was saying in her message. Well, this is a theme today.
This is pumping me up. Thank you.
And it's Baker Mayfield's birthday.
Yeah, all of this on Baker
What
Mayfield.
a Taco Tuesday, my friend. You biz boys are the best. Thank you for all that you do. Well, Amy, we wouldn't be biz boys without you and other folks who have been so nice as to support the show financially. So thank you. What you all are doing, let's go back to this. I forget who exactly said this, but it was a few messages ago. What we're doing is important. That is to say, all of us, this group that is the TBTL listeners and me and Andrew and John. What we're doing together is meaningful for all of us. So thanks, Amy, for helping us do it.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
I've learned, Andrew, that one of my main, I guess you could say, brands is being Albanian, which is kind of funny because I feel like I haven't talked about it in a while. But of course, I found out pretty late in life that my biological father, who I never met, that his side of the family was Albanian or had Albanian ancestry. And it was, for some reason, I don't know why, it was strange to think of myself as having a slightly different, I guess, genetic makeup or ethnic makeup. I don't think that's an ethnicity, but anyway. And then I became slightly curious about Albania, which is to say, I think I looked it up on Wikipedia just to try to figure out where it was. And I don't know if anybody did somebody ever actually add me to the Wikipedia page? I think maybe as a joke, a listener, because basically I was trying to figure out, well, who's Albanian? And at the time, I think it was like Regis Philbin was a famous Albanian, as was Elijah Dushku, the actor, as were the Belushi brothers. And then I feel like either somebody actually added me to the Wikipedia or I just asked them to, but somehow there was a conversation about, am I in the top 20 most well-known Albanian-Americans? And that's really more of a function of there not being that many well-known Albanian-Americans or people in America who have Albanian ancestry. In fact, when I did an interview with Jim Belushi years ago, I said, I'm Albanian, and he really liked that. He liked it so much that he wanted me to stay over at his house. Did I tell you that part of the story?
No.
Yeah, he has this amazing ranch in down in Oregon on the Rogue River where he grows weed. And he was like, hey, man, if you want to stay over, we got lots of space and stuff. And I remember subsequent times texting it, he'd be like, hey, what's up, my Albanian brother? It was a big bonding thing for us.
Really? You think that you don't get the invite to sleep over without the Albanian connection? Your Albanian bros?
No, I do not think that happens. I think it made a connection in his mind that would not have been there if I was a regular non-Albanian reporter. But we can now add former New York City Mayor Eric Adams to the list. The reason I say my brand is because multiple people have sent me this story.
I think
Eric
was
Adams.
I the first?
You were the first.
I
Andrew.
liked it. I just thank you for saying that, whether or not it was true. But I saw
it was
that.
True.
And
but I've also gotten this from a couple of other people. That the former mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, has now officially been given Albanian citizenship. And it would appear, this is a story in the New York Times from Emma Goldberg, that Eric Adams has had an odd obsession with Albania. Now, how do I put this delicately? I don't think that the nation of
Sorry,
I don't think, I say this with peace and love to my Albanian brothers and sisters, but Eric Adams, it would appear to have been a somewhat corrupt guy. In fact, had to stop being mayor because of allegations around his corruption, which he was then pardoned by noted corrupt guy Donald Trump. Albania, not the squeakiest, cleanest of countries when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's a kind of, known area of a certain amount of, let's say, graft, let's say scammery. And like, there's just something that's very perfect about Eric Adams' favorite country being Albania to me. You know, as mayor of New York City, this is from Emma's piece in the Times. As mayor of New York City, Eric Adams developed a reputation for wanderlust with a specifically profound love of Albania. Now, Mr. Adams, only months out of office and evidently footloose, has been granted Albanian citizenship and received an Albanian passport by special decree of the Albanian president, Bajram Bagaj. Mr. Adams' dual citizenship was reported by Albanian media and confirmed by his spokesman, Todd Shapiro. Quote, he loves Albania, Mr. Shapiro said in a brief call. He really does. As mayor, Mr. Adams hosted 3 flag-raising ceremonies for Albania. That just seems like a lot of flag-raising ceremonies for Albania. Last June, he hosted a celebration of Albanian culture at Gracie Mansion. And in the waning weeks of his mayoralty, after dropping out of the race for re-election, he flew to Albania and met with the prime minister. It took 109 mayors before they understood that we should have an Albanian Day parade in New York City, said Mr. Adams last June. I can't wait until I get to Albania and enjoy the beautiful rivers and seas and mountains that you all have to offer. Now, they mention in the typical kind of New York Times droll way, his extensive overseas travel figured prominently in his indictment on federal corruption charges, and that is a hyperlink to all of the charges.
I was going to say, you know, when I first saw this, I saw it in some sort of like Albanian-American publication headline that did not have a lot of detail and nor scrutiny, I would say. But of course, like, yeah, this sounds like someone was feathering his nest.
I mean, he got in trouble. The specific charges were about Turkey, right? But you got to assume that whatever was going on, that was probably not above board. He was getting these very lavish flights to Turkey as mayor, and it wasn't being reported correctly, was the allegation. They also say in the Times piece, the charges were abandoned under highly unusual circumstances by President Trump's Justice Department. But you sort of have to assume that whatever lavish stuff that was probably not okay was going on in Turkey was also probably going on in Albania. The piece goes on to say his soft spot for Albania extends to his family. His son, Jordan Coleman, competed on Albania's American Idol in 2022.
Isn't it just Albanian Idol?
Well, it's the American Idol equivalent.
You're right. I know.
Yes, yes, it should be Albanian Idol.
It would be really funny if it was just. It feels like in BoJack Horseman they would have an Albanian American Idol.
Yes, totally. But so wait, Albania let his kid go on Albanian American Idol? And now he's doing 3 flag raisings for them. Now they're making him a citizen. And it's like, I mean, this whole thing feels a little weird to me.
Although you're not really the best messenger for that because you obviously have a dug on this flight, as we like
I do have
say.
a dug on this flight.
You're trying to undermine this whole thing in order to sort of like, I don't know, protect your own status as an Albanian. So you see how I don't trust him, but I don't fully trust you in this situation either.
Yeah, I'm on the Wikipedia page for list of Albanian-Americans, and I don't. You know who just got added? Eric Adams.
Yeah, he's on there, huh?
Under politics, he is the newest addition to the list of Albanian-Americans in the politics category. I'm obviously not going to be there. I'm not in science and academia. I'm not in cinema. I've never been in cinema. The top the top listing, Jim Belushi, followed by John Belushi, followed by, there was a Robert Belushi, I guess. Do you know Danny DeVito is apparently got some Albanian heritage? And that kind of checks out. He's just got dark features and dark hair. Let's see, Eliza Dushku, as I mentioned. Not anybody else that's particularly well-known to my arts and entertainment. Okay, musicians. I'm not a musician, so I'm not in there. Artists. I consider this to be art, what I'm doing. You know who is Albanian famously is Action Bronson.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Let's see. Of course, Regis, as I've already mentioned, Regis Philbin. Bobby Starr, former adult film actress. Love her work. Martin Shkreli, the guy that bought the Wu-Tang, the guy that made the medication too expensive and then used it to buy the Wu-Tang album.
Wu-Tang Baby.
They rock the world.
They rock the world, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I'm not on here.
Tony Davolani, Professional
sure.
ballroom dancer. Did you already mention that one?
One-time Halle Berry boyfriend.
Yeah, that's
no,
my
I just wish.
understanding,
I just
right?
wish.
Yeah.
Media, put me in. Andrew Kaczynski, okay, whatever. Bill Kovac, Donald Lambro, Eric Margulies, Molly Querim, Nick Tosches, and Nexmi Zaimi. Look.
Oh my God! Look at the descriptions of everybody who's under the category of others.
Oh, wait.
I'm not even going to read their.
Others? Please tell me I'm in others.
I'm not going to read their
mobsters.
names. It's here the Joseph Ardizzoni, mobster. Zufi Hoxha, terrorist. Ishmael Lika, mobster. Zef Mustafa, mobster. Sammy Osmakek, convicted terrorist.
Not suspected, convicted.
Nicolo Shiro, mobster. John Elite, former mobster. Author, youth motivational speaker, and former associate of the Gambino crime family. That
You know what,
one,
Andrew?
wow,
People
what a
can change.
What
I'm afraid
a
the baby
power
thinks
out!
people can't change.
I love it. It goes mobster, terrorist, mobster, convicted terrorist, mobster. Former mobster / youth motivational speaker. That is amazing.
I'm just saying, if somebody would like to do me the kindness, I don't know how to do this. I'm not above asking someone to do it, but I am above doing it for myself. If somebody could please add me to the media category, okay? Like, I am in the media. This is legitimate. I should, by the way, I'm going to do one of those 23andMe or whatever they are kind of, deals. We were at a thing this weekend and we were talking to a friend of ours, David, who happens to be Jewish, and he and I were like kind of talking about, I was giving him my theory. That is, I would be unsurprised to find out that I have somewhere far back in my ancestry some amount of Jewish heritage. And my theory for this is, one, my affinity for many of people who happen to be Jewish, and just the culture and the vibe. I'm into it. I like it. It works for me, that's not science or genetics. I'm just saying. I like Jewish stuff and Jewish people. But also, Albania was one of those places that was so anti-Semitic that there were a lot of people who happened to be Jewish who just kind of stopped identifying as such, like kind of for their own safety. And then after enough generations, the people lost the thread. So maybe it was like somebody's great-great-great-great-great-grandmother and grandfather were like, we're going to low-key the Jew thing. And then by the time you get down a bunch of generations, you've got people that don't have that as any part of their perceived heritage, but maybe it's in there. I'm hoping, obviously, that that's somewhere in there for me. But we were talking about this, and he said he invited us to do Passover at his house next year, and I said yes, and I'm going to do one of those tests, and hopefully I'm going to show up in full gear. I'm going to have a yarmulke on. I'm going to have.
That's great.
I'm going to be with my paperwork from 23andMe.
Okay, good. As long as
part of the tribe.
I mean, as long as you're gripping your paperwork as you show up in this.
I'll have
way,
it laminated and I'll show it to
respectful.
anyone who will see it that I am
great.
allowed to do this. So anyway, but yeah, if somebody could please add me to the list of Albanian-Americans, I would. Now, what if I do this test and that's a nation of, that's not an ethnicity. I wouldn't come back as positive for Albanian, right? How does that work?
I have no idea.
It's a country.
Yeah,
it's a country. It's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, so is Poland, and if I were to get it, I'd be, it's my understanding that I'm half Polish.
Irish.
How
does that
Irish,
work? Actually, that is so weird because, like, think about it. Would you get Polish?
Yeah,
you would get Polish. How do you get Polish?
I think because my background is like 50% Polish, and then
But that's
well, we used to say growing up we'd say Czechoslovakian, but I guess I'd just be either Czech or. This is a good question. If I was a quarter Czechoslovakian before, am I now an eighth Czech and an eighth Slovak? I don't know anything about this. I will say I've always been deeply uncurious about genealogy, my own and other people's. Like, and I just
get ready. It's going to be a big plot on this show.
Okay, I mean, I'll listen. I'll listen to yours, but I just
let's get back to
I don't
this,
even know how to talk about it without sounding like an idiot because I've just never explored it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know if it would come back Polish. Because would that mean that it would come back Would Addie's come back American?
Well, no, it would be like whatever your and her mom's background are.
Yeah, which
what do you?
I guess.
Okay, what do you think?
Well, what I'm saying is Irish.
Get?
What does Irish mean? Like, so she would get some
Ireland.
Irish.
Yeah,
from Ireland. But is that there are people in Ireland. You mean I don't know. I'm clearly at the edge of my understanding of this too. I'm just trying to figure out the difference between the national boundary of an area, which confers your citizenship, versus your something genetic about you, something that is genetically Irish or genetically.
But when we talk about our
Polish.
genetics, it's always linked. I mean, with the exception of like you say, the Jewish people, like there's usually, and I guess there are a couple of other kind of ethnicities again when you get into that Eastern
Caucasian.
Europe stuff, but it's going to come back like you're the background, you're Irish, you're Scottish, you're Polish, you know what I mean. It's always it's often tied to a nationality.
I guess it would be funny if it would be funny if I was zero Albanian right as I was being added.
That
to the
would
list
be
of
really
notable
interesting.
Albanians.
Maybe that's what
And
you
by
need
the
to
way,
be dripping your paperwork for.
But then they'd put me under other, and it would be the last guy would be podcaster, liar about being from Albania, and motivational speaker.
Oh, I would love it if there was a separate page on Wikipedia that was list of famous Americans who falsely
That one I would be at the top of.
They're Albanian.
Literally, no one has ever tried to claim being Albanian who wasn't, other than Eric Adams, maybe. But
Here I go once again with the email. Every week, I hope that it's from a female. Oh, man, it's not from a female.
all right, emails of emails.
Yes. Do you remember the other day during the Dazzling Donor segment, we were thanking a listener named Mark, who you identified as somebody who used to be, I believe, a long-haul trucker and is now a pilot for an airline?
Yes. And that's why I call him the master of travel, because I feel like he's crossed this country. We just said if we could get him on a riverboat or something, or a train conductor, he could really cover all of the bases of ways that we get across the country.
Well, this must be the same Mark. I got a voicemail from Mark, and the irony is Mark left this probably before we read his Dazzling Donor message, and now we're all going to hear it after reading his Dazzling Donor message, but it really does lean into his knowledge, expertise, and experience of being a pilot, because you and I recently on the show were talking about airport codes, specifically how SeaTac Airport, which has always been known as SeaTac Airport, has tried to rebrand itself as SEA. And we even said, like, it just seemed like a pretty desperate, thirsty attempt by their marketing department to sort of like be hip and cool like PDX and LAX. And Mark gets into all of that along with some really interesting observations that were beyond my observation.
Hey there, business boys. It's your buddy Mark, the pilot. Imagine my delight when I get in the car to drive to the airport to go to work this morning and you're talking all about airport codes. Wow. It's like custom-made content for me. Anyway, I wanted to address your thoughts about SeaTac and the rebranding of SEA. I think it has less to do with sliding Tacoma, which Lord knows needs no more sliding, than it does kind of following this trend of cities and airports using their airport code to refer to themselves in a cool, hip way. I think this probably started largely with ATL and probably the hip-hop scene in Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe at least that's part of it. But, of course, there's other cities like LAX or PDX that also do this. I think that's really mostly what SEA is trying to do, and it seems a little like late to the game and kind of lame to me, to use the ICAO identifier. That's the International Civil Aviation Organization identifier for the airport branding or the city branding as a whole. What really irritates me, though, since you asked, is when cities or airports use airport codes or airport code sounding things to refer to themselves that aren't actually airport codes. I'll give you an example. Austin, Texas is forever and everywhere referring to itself as ATX, which is not the airport code. The airport code is AUS. But ATX sure does stand for Austin and Texas, maybe, and sounds a lot like an airport code with a 3-letter ending with an X kind of thing. So I don't like that. I also don't like it when people refer to Denver International Airport as DIA, as the airport code is DEN. I think DIA might have been the airport code for Stapleton, the old airport that was closer to downtown. But the airport that is 45 minutes away from downtown Denver and guarded over by a satanic horse is DEN. Also, as a side note, MCO for Orlando, McCoy Field, named for some Army guy, and ORD in Chicago is Orchard Field, which was the tiny little airport that existed on the northwest of Chicago that became the behemoth that it is today. Anyway, I'd love to stay and chat, but I am at PHL and I got to get to SAN today.
That is a power out, by the way.
Hell of a sign-off, Mark.
It really is. That was great.
Well played. Wait, so PHL, he said? And he's got to get to... I'm trying to see
MIA,
if I can do these
maybe?
from...
Was that?
No, I'm trying to think if I can... I don't know
SFO, he said, right? That's where he's
well,
headed.
that one's San Francisco.
If that's
but what
if
about,
I'm remembering that right. Here, I'll play it again at the end.
PHL.
Is that definitely what he said? I already don't remember.
And ORD in Chicago is Orchard Field, which was the tiny little airport that existed on the northwest of Chicago that became the behemoth that it is today. Anyway, I'd love to stay and chat, but I am at PHL and I got to get to SAN today. Power out.
Oh, SAN. I said SFO.
So PHL would be... What would that be?
I'm going to look it up. Do you want to guess for a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to try to guess. And then SAN, I want to say that's going to be San Diego. Okay. Unless that's San Antonio. I feel like it's going to be either San Diego or San Antonio.
Okay.
I'm going to go with San Diego.
Are you officially submitting an answer for SAN right now?
I'm officially submitting that SAN, I believe, is San Diego. But
congratulations,
PHL,
you got that one right.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm wondering if Phoenix is technically PHL. I mean, it's called Sky Harbor, and I'm going to say that PHL.
Here's what I'm going to do. Can I do something with you here?
I would love you to do something.
Will you do something? Will you close your eyes?
Okay.
I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take a nice deep breath, okay? And I want you to not overthink this. I want you to feel this. I want you to feel this. I want you
Philadelphia.
Thank you, sir.
That
is what you needed to do.
By the way,
it was Philadelphia.
That was really good advice.
We were just talking about your background, what.
I mean, it's
got
it right there.
Luke
PH is the first two letters.
Yep, there you go. Congratulations. That was a really great. That was a really informative.
That was
voicemail. Thanks for leaving it. By the way,
Mark.
You could tell that Mark had recorded that. I think it's a voice memo and emailed it to me. You guys can do that too. My email address is andrew@tbtl.net, or you can call the voicemail line 206-414-8285. That's 206-414-TBTL.
There you go.
Whoa,
Mark,
loud.
thank you very much.
Sorry, too loud.
Is that bingo?
No, that was I just had my potentiometer in the wrong spot, Luke. It happens to all men.
Absolutely, sure does. All right, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We are all done for today, but we're going to be right back here tomorrow with more imaginary radio for you. So please hop on by for that. In the meantime, have a great Tuesday. Take care of yourselves. Good luck with the taxes, everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody being me. And we'll see you tomorrow. Please remember, and go Mariners. That's been working lately. Fingers crossed. They're in Slam Diego right now. Speaking of SAN.
That's right. It's a night game, though, right?
It is. Yes,
okay,
it is.
Good.
Go Mariners, and everybody, please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Dude, give me a bark. This is grass clippings. Give us the real deal or we're out of here.
What I'm gonna do for you guys, I'm gonna hook you up to the best stuff, okay? But you gotta jump into my van.
Definitely.
For sharks. Come on.
Power out.